Citizen TV.
So, welcome back to The Explainer. Thank you for staying with us. Now, as we promised you, and we had this conversation a little earlier with retired Chief Justice David Maraga, who is still with us here on The Explainer tonight. He has recently announced his interest in running the country in 2027, and he joins us now once again to talk a little bit about that. Thank you for being with us still, retired CJ. I want to start by asking you to introduce yourself to Kenyans, because for decades we've known you in a different capacity, obviously on the bench. Now, with no political background, how are you introducing yourself to the people of Kenya in your quest to run for office in 2027?
Thank you very much, Yvonne, for having me. First, before I introduce myself and I talk about what I am up to, please allow me to express my deep condolences to the families of those who have lost the young ones. In Kenya today, we are in a serious political and economic crisis, one that we have not seen in this country before. Having close to about 200 young people dying in less than 2 years is shocking. It's shocking. In the last 2 months, we have had more than 60. The numbers are increasing. This is shocking. When you hear the president ordering the shooting of Kenyan unarmed young people, I don't know how other people feel. I get shocked. I get shocked. The president has no powers. The CS has no powers to order the shooting of people. They are supposed to be protecting them. If there are any offenses committed, they are supposed to be taken to court. Are we being told that the police are helpless? They can't arrest those young people? It is quite shocking. So what is happening now is what we are also seeing. The president is weaponizing the justice system to deal with these young people. They're being called terrorists. These young people are not terrorists. These are young Kenyans whose only crime is to express their views, their constitutional rights, to demand their constitutional rights. Instead of being applauded and supported, they're being killed, they're being abducted. This is serious. When you talk about the numbers of those who have been killed, today tens of them were buried, including the 12-year Bridget, who was just watching TV in her mom's house. That tells you how indiscriminate the shootings were. Yeah. So it is something extremely worrying. Yeah. And as Kenyans, unless we take action, our country is going to the dogs.
CJ, is that why you're running for office?
Exactly. Exactly. Last year, just before June, I was watching what is happening in the country, and I was troubled. On 25th of June, I was just shocked at what I saw. Just as I'm sure every Kenyan was shocked. What did these young people do? Express their outrage. Why are they going to the streets? Why are they doing what they are doing? Because nobody cares about their interests. Nobody cares about their interests. So we are in a very, very awkward situation. So when I saw that, and I got troubled, you know, the conversation was about what is happening. Yeah. Quite a number of people also talked about that. And then somebody asked me whether or not I had thought of a political seat. I said no. He said, look, you had better begin thinking. I said, I've never been a politician. I understand if you need to contest the presidential position, you need at least 10 billion. I told them, look, forget about that, this can't go on. And when the conversation went on and a few more people talked about it, of course I was myself wondering whether there's anything I could do. We talked, and after consultation with my family, with friends, and prayerfully reflecting on the issue, I decided to put in my bid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We will talk about funding, and we'll talk about a lot more. Do you think your lack of a political background is an advantage or a disadvantage?
Before we come to that, Yvonne, what does this country require at this moment? With the chaos that are on in the country, we need this country to be reset back to constitutionalism, to the rule of law. We need this impunity to be dealt with square in this country. We need to restore the dignity of our people. You can't have people being killed the way we are seeing. We can't have people suffering and some of them dying from simple ailments that can be treated. We can't afford to have our children sitting at home because there's no funding given for their education. You lose a generation of such young people. We need to restore our economy. I'm sure you are aware that quite a number of corporations have shut down in Kenya and gone to other countries. Some of them have downsized their operations. All this is because of poor management of our affairs. So we need to think seriously about that and change what we can do.
And do you believe you are the person to do that?
I believe I'm the person who can do it.
Why?
Why? Because I have experience. I have experience on how government sometimes operates. They would want to intimidate you, not to do what you're supposed to do. I saw that a lot when I was in the judiciary. And I stood firm. When you stand firm, sometimes you confuse them. They don't know what to do with you. So I am ready to stand up to them and demand that we work together. I am, of course, I am not an expert in everything. I'm a lawyer. What I want to offer to the Kenyans is leadership. I will be like a captain. Get competent people in various positions in government, give them the confidence to work, authorize them to do their work, yeah, and demand results.
Okay.
And you know, we don't have, we are not short of competent people. We have very competent people all over.
Okay. I want to understand what it's been like for you, because it's been a couple of weeks, maybe a few months since you declared your bid. I wonder what your experience is so far. We've seen you first out on the streets during protests. We've also seen you doing visits in some parts of the country. What would you say your experience is so far in this sphere of life, considering where you've been and now, you know, sort of going out on the political front?
I'm experiencing different dynamics. Different dynamics, talking to people. Mekula tear gas kidogo. For nothing else other than coming in solidarity with the mothers and the siblings who lost their loved ones, last June. So, I mean, it is an interesting experience, but we live in this country, and we have seen how it goes. I am consulting a lot, and that is what Kenyans are expressing. What Kenyans are expressing are saying, look, CJ, when you get there, please bring a fundamental change to what is happening. We cannot afford to continue like this.
Right.
Yes.
perhaps one of the areas that people think about when they focus on Kenya's politics is how it is run and how it is organized. Would you run on a political party or as an independent? What are your thoughts around that?
I would run on a political party or a coalition of parties. In fact, the latter is most likely because I've already got people who are in several parties, and they have said, look, would you like to run on my party? If not, we will support you. We will be one of the parties which will support you. So most likely I will run on a coalition of parties.
Okay, and who are these people who are offering you their parties?
No, let's not go to the identities, but believe me, there are quite a number of those who are.
I mean, the reason I ask is because of ideology in our politics.
Yes.
And I think that's been an important part of the discussion in this country since independence. And so perhaps just trying to get an understanding of what you think regarding political party ideology, because as you say, if anybody stands up and says, I want to run for office, there's a dime a dozen of people offering you a political party, which, as we know, is just usually in this country a vehicle to power rather than an ideology or a set of principles and values. Yes,
I hear what you say. You must, a political party that you are going to run on, or a coalition party that you are going to run on, must be one which reflects your values, which reflects your ideology, which it's, I mean, the constitution of which will itself speak of the type of person they expect you to be. So it is important to have a party. There is one that is, in fact, we are looking at the Constitution and amending it appropriately to suit our vision and manifesto.
And when will we hear about this party?
Perhaps towards the end of the year.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I want to ask you, because you mentioned something about, funding elections in this country. You say people told you you'd need how much to run for president?
At least 10 billion.
10 billion. So how do you propose to fund your operations? Because that's the landscape we're in. As I'm sure you're now witnessing as you go, for gatherings and rallies, as you're meeting the people. In this country, we have all of that already. These gatherings are sometimes known as empowerment. What's been your experience? Have you had to pay people to attend? And what's your scope in terms of how much it'll take to fund your campaign?
Thanks, Yvonne, for that question. Before I come to the direct answer, the issue of funding of campaigns for presidential and other positions is a major issue in this country. And in my view, it is partly what has brought us to where we are. Why do I say that? I say that because somebody spends whatever amount he spends. On coming in, the first thing he wants to do is to recoup what he has spent.
Yeah.
After that, he begins building a war chest. Building it from where? Public resources. And you have looting, left, right, and center. Just as I was seated here, we saw a news item where the Auditor General is talking about funding being remitted to non-existent schools. I have talked about budgeted corruption. That answers or tells the people what we are talking about. Huge sums of money. So one of the things I'm going to focus on is the electoral process in this country. When you demand or you make it so expensive, young people, our youths, will never get to elective positions. Our ladies, many of them with very little resources, will never get to elective positions. And that is not because that's the way it is supposed to be. No, it is the way it has been made. People come in, steal your money, use it, buy your what? Buy your votes, and go to steal more. We want to change that. We will change that so that money doesn't count in the elections.
Okay, so be that as it may.
Yes.
It does count in the elections.
I mean, what should count?
Fortunately or unfortunately?
Yeah, unfortunately,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
What should count are expenses.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you're not going to spend any money.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, because there is an amount of money that would be required.
Yes. What I'm talking about is giving money to people to vote for you.
Okay.
What is going on around, I don't know what your view is, the empowerment, the so-called empowerment programs. How long are you going to do that?
What is your view on the empowerment?
My view is that, look, don't go dishing out money to people when you are supposed to revamp the economy so that these people can earn their own money. I mean, you give them 1,000, 2,000 shillings. I don't even know how much is being given. Yeah. How long does it last with them? So what we are going to emphasize, what we want our Kenyans to know, that they should not be bought.
Okay.
They should not be given a few hundreds of shillings, a few thousands on the eve of election and vote wrong people.
Okay.
Yes. So
not to give the money to influence the vote. However, running a campaign costs money.
Yes.
You'll need to hire vehicles. You'll
Correct.
need to,
Correct.
PA systems or whatever it is.
Yes.
Have you done an assessment of what you will need and where you're going to get that money from?
Yes. It is being worked. The details are being worked on. We will require quite a substantial amount of money.
Do you know how much?
I won't tell now. My people are working on the likely budget. But I'm convinced we are going to appeal to Kenyans, including Yvonne, to contribute to our campaign, and it's going to succeed. The Kenyans will themselves fund this election, and once we are funded and get elected, you can rest assured that anybody trying to twist us or do anything will tell him, look, this is a Wanjiku funded presidency.
Yeah, but be that as it may, CJ, Kenyans are going through a tough time. The cost of living is high. What you're talking about is projections and hopes that people will fund your campaign. Are you putting in any money yourself?
Very little.
Okay.
Yes. Very little.
How much?
I mean, 1-2 million shillings. Okay. I don't have much money.
Okay.
I don't have much money. But Yvonne,
and if you don't get the funding that you require from others, I mean, it's sort of like a budgeting issue, isn't it? Like you make projections that you will get X amount from, well-wishers or Kenyans of goodwill, as you might call them. If you have a funding gap, right, in your campaign operations, how are you going to plug that gap?
It is not going to be there. Let me tell you that. The people we are talking to, some we are meeting, are saying, look, when are you setting up the pay bill? We are going to pay. We are not asking a lot of money from individuals. We will leave it open for somebody to with the suffering the Kenyans have gone through.
Yeah.
I can assure you that getting 10, 20, 50 shillings from individuals, 100 shillings, will come in. And I can assure you that the assurances we have been given from across the country, we are going to, in fact, if anything, we are hoping to get excess. And my view is that once we get excess, whatever will be left, we'll give it to a public cause.
At some point, will you make this public?
Yes. We're going
what your budget is, what you're hoping to get from the public, and how much you're putting in?
Exactly.
Okay. We'll hopefully have you here.
Yes.
At the moment that decision is made.
Yes.
Retired Chief Justice, what makes you different from what we have on offer? And I'd like to hear. We have a current president that you are hoping to unseat in 2027. Let's start with him first, because the others are all aspirants like yourself. What do you think makes you different from the current president, and why all these Kenyans will support your campaign and go beyond supporting it financially to actually voting for you? Why should you be the one to unseat President William Ruto?
President Ruto ran a campaign with very many promises, very, very good sounding promises. bottom-up economic system, very many, very good promises. And people believed him that he was going to deliver. But, I mean, you can also ask yourself how many he has delivered on. Quite a number of those promises he has not delivered on. If anything, he has actually gone against them. He promised young people that upon completion of your education, we are going to work on your employment. The employment opportunities are shrinking by the day because of the mismanagement of the economy, mismanagement of the political affairs. That, as I said earlier, has made businesses close down, and some of them moving to other countries. What we have seen are Kenyans being sent to other countries, and the reports we are receiving from those who have gone is they're being sent to slavery. They're being sent to slavery, and they are suffering. So with those promises, how do you expect the young people to react? The promises he made on infrastructure have just come to a standstill. Look at education. We have policies. I mean, there is really no clear policy on education, right from early child development, right to universities. Why? Because there have been quite a number of commissions that have been set up. Some of them have come up with very good recommendations. Those recommendations should be translated into policies. Those policies are lacking. So there's total confusion. You hurry, for example, transition from primary to early, junior secondary, with no facilities, with no infrastructure at all. And what the parents are left with is to see what they can do and fund that. The teachers themselves are not trained or are not prepared for that. So it's total chaos, total chaos. That, I mean, we will have improvements in our education system and all that, but this is supposed to be planned, carefully thought out, planned, so that when you roll out, of course, even if there are any hitches here and there are hitches which can be dealt with easily, okay. Not the way we are in.
Now, all those are challenges that Kenyans clearly understand.
Yes.
How would you do it differently from what the president is doing now? And indeed, all the problems that you are stating are the very same issues that are being stated by others who are seeking to run for office in 2027.
Yes.
What makes it you that will be the one that changes things?
Thanks, Yvonne. As I told you, I'm listening to Kenyans. I'm listening to professionals. I'm listening to people in education. And what they are saying is they are not being given an opportunity to run. Like education is being interfered with, left, right, and center. Even the recruitment of teachers is being interfered with from State House. And as a result, some of the officers are disillusioned. So, as I said earlier, I am going to have a team. I'm going to have officers who are competent in their respective areas and allow them to work.
So are you saying the team that is running the country now is not competent and are not allowed to work? What are you saying, CJ?
They are being interfered with. They are being interfered with. When you get funding being sent to non-existent schools, somebody somewhere is asked to give back that money. Whatever they are, I mean, what is allocated to schools, some of it is not reaching the schools themselves.
Yeah.
And as a result, they are in difficulties. So it is all interference.
So interference and competence, do you think the people who are running the various ministries and their boss are competent enough to do so?
The report I have, the information I have, is quite a number of people are in positions they are least qualified for. And as a result, they don't even understand. In fact, their aim there is, what are you going to get and give back to those who are in power?
Okay.
Yes.
I'd like us to understand now, what's happened with respect to the rule of law. You're a lawyer, you're a legal expert, you've sat on the bench. I think you've served on both sides, right? Bar and the bench.
Yes.
Let's speak about the environment we're in now, particularly with, the right to protest. How do we protect the right to demonstrate, particularly in an environment of violence, with respect to the police and how they conduct themselves? A moment to speak about the state of law and order in the country, from your perspective.
Thank you, Yvonne. One of my major pillars is resetting the country back to constitutionalism. We have one of the best constitutions in the world, with elaborate provisions on literally every aspect of our lives. When it comes to human rights, we have an elaborate bill of rights. Demonstrations, what sometimes we call picketing, is there in the Constitution. And the regulations that are there is for whoever wants to demonstrate, whoever wants to picket, gives notice to the police. It's not seeking permission from the police to demonstrate. What he's doing is to give notice. That notice is intended for the police to ensure, because when you have very many people in a public place, there are criminals who can come in and take advantage of their presence and go breaking into people's properties, which happens. So the police are supposed to guard against that. They are supposed to plan and ensure that as these people are marching here, others are not breaking into shops, behind. So, but that is not being allowed. And it's not only the demonstrations. The Constitution has not been implemented. It's not being implemented. You know, Yvonne, of the court orders that are issued against the government. They just looked at, they are sneered. They are sneered at, and nobody wants to, they are not being complied with. We are, impunity has reached the highest level it has ever been in this country. So unless we reset the country and get everybody to obey the law.
How do you do that?
How do I do it? Is in my administration, I will make it very clear, and I'm making it even from now, that everybody will have to obey the law, starting with me. Starting with me. There is nobody who is going to say he's a member of my family, so he cannot comply with the law.
And if they don't?
If they don't, I will myself deal with them. I will myself. That is a promise I'm giving to the Kenyans, that we have to reset back to the rule of law and deal with impunity.
I want to give you a scenario. You're president. People want to march to State House. Others are in another part of the country, perhaps preparing to loot a supermarket. If people want to march to State House and you are president, what would you do?
People want to march to State House, get police.
Do what?
Get police to restrain them. Haven't you seen that in other countries? Police go with shields. These people are not armed. These people are not armed. Shield and get them not to break. But the orders that are given is to shoot, to control.
So you believe, because I just want to understand present circumstances versus if you were the person in power right now, is a march to State House a legitimate right of citizens?
First of all,
and to what extent?
To what extent? Let's go back a little bit. Who are these who are demanding to march to State House? These are people who feel totally betrayed, like our young people. We have had marches in the past. We have had doctors, we have had teachers demonstrating on the streets, and there's not been any breakages. The young people have been forgotten. Nobody is listening to them. When they complain using technology, with the steroids, when they do that, what happens to them? They are abducted. Can you imagine? Abducted, I mean, a young person abducted because he's expressing his anger by that.
And do you believe they can express their anger in a march to State House?
Well, you know, if their problems had been listened to, I don't think they would get there.
Okay, so now I want us to imagine a scenario where you are president, people are marching to State House.
Yeah.
Whether or not you've listened to them or heard them or not, I just want to understand what your thoughts are around that. So it's President Maraga in 2027 or 2028 and people are marching to State House.
You will have,
what do you do?
You will have
allow it?
You will have known from intelligence
that
this is planned. Find a way of addressing those issues. When you address those issues, if there are enough few who will march there, if I was in State House, I would even walk out and tell them, young people, what is it that you want? Talk to them and find a way of addressing their issues. The issue is go to the root cause of the problem. Without going to the root cause of the problem, you're not going to solve the anger will continue increasing.
Okay. Protests are a legitimate form of expression.
Exactly.
You are out on the streets. In response to that, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Gladys Boss, said this about you being on the streets. She said you are fueling protests while enjoying taxpayer-funded perks and pension. She said you are misleading children, destroying people's property. She went on to say, shame on you, Maraga, shame on you, Maraga, shame on you, Maraga. What is your response to that statement that was made on the floor of the House, and what is your response to Gladys Boss?
Thank you. You know, Boss said that I am enjoying retirement benefits paid by the government. It is not the government who are paying me. It is the Kenyan people whom I served that are paying me. And I'm entitled to that pension like any other retired person who is pensionable. So, why, if I've retired, am I gagged? Am I supposed to be gagged? Am I not supposed to? Don't I have constitutional rights to do what I want legally, which is there? As I've said, about 60 young people were killed last year in demonstrations when they were demonstrating against the finance bill, which they said was punitive. And look at the circumstances in which that bill was passed. I mean, the MPs literally was nearing at the young people. And that's why the outrage was that great. Now, these people have not been compensated. Nobody has cared to think or express solidarity with them about their pain. These are parents, and I was moved myself, and I said, let me join these people, if only to tell them that Kenya, there are very many other people who are feeling for you.
Yeah, yet she said you were misleading people's children.
Look.
And being part of a group that's destroying people's property. I want you to respond to those direct allegations.
Yes. That statement of us is misleading itself. It's the first one which is misleading. I was not misleading anybody. I'm not the one who organized the demonstrations. The parents sent a notice to the police and said they were coming to demonstrate. And if my recollection is right, about a night before or 2 nights before, they were given assurances that you come and demonstrate, express your feelings. The police are going to protect you as you march. And I say, look, let us support these people. They are not alone. I mean, their pain is our pain as human beings, first as human beings and as a country. So I went and joined them. So for somebody to say that I am misleading, am I the one who is misleading all over the country? I have not made any particular statement that is inciting to those people, other than saying, look, what is happening to them is wrong, and we should, as a country, not allow it to go on.
The president and other members of the executive called what happened out on the streets an attempted coup, an attempt to overthrow the government. You were out there yourself. Was it?
We are yet to see any evidence of that. What I can tell you I saw are police marching with the hired goons besides them. It's like the police were supporting, were themselves supporting these goons who were terrorizing the young people. The destruction of property. The destruction of property is not by the young people who were demonstrating. Some could be by criminals who took advantage of that. And some could even, I mean, with the information we are getting is some are actually hired goons to do that to justify the use of force by the police, I mean by the government. So that is not an excuse at all.
So do you agree or disagree with the characterization of what happened on the streets as an attempt to overthrow the government?
I don't, because I can't see, or we have not been told of any organized. You don't go to the streets to overthrow the government. To overthrow a government, you need to plan, you need to allot. What evidence have we been shown? Quite a number of young people have been charged with terrorism. A very serious offense that calls for stiff terms of bail and bond. The whole idea is to punish them, to keep them behind the bars so that they can cause fear to others not to come. Those are not terrorists, I can assure you. These are young people who I mean, how do you terrorize the country with bare hands? We have not been told of anybody who was armed. So, I mean, all these are mechanisms meant to cause fear so that the government is able to control and not allow the demonstrations.
Whilst they're calling for good governance and you know, observance of the rule of law, you know, there's the slogan that they want the president to serve one term. He says, you know, he wants to serve 2 terms. CJ, they say 1 term. What do you say for Ruto?
Look, the condemnations that are hurled against the president, the outrage expressed against the president, if he's listening to what the Kenyans are saying, if he's watching what is there in the social media, should see that he has lost legitimacy to rule. He doesn't have the Kenyan people behind him, and the honorable thing to do is to resign. If he did that, there will be all these things will end, and a new government will come in place. I mean, replace him, and listen to the people. Instead of doing that, he is getting goons to be used alongside the police, and you know that's a very dangerous path. That's a very, very dangerous path. When you go as far as getting goons to do what the police are supposed to do, you are treading on a very dangerous dangerous path. Wait a minute. You see today what I've seen in the news, actually, I mean, carried on Citizen TV, are traders from, was it Ruiru, who are saying that they are coming up to defend their property. Why are they doing that? It's because the government has failed to provide protection that they require. Don't tell me that because of this looting, I mean, of course, they are reacting because they have suffered loss. But go back to who has caused that looting. If the government was being run properly, this would not arise. The traders are taking literally law into their own hands and protecting themselves. Everybody else is going to do that. What is the role of the government? The government is supposed to provide security to everyone so that there is no need for traders to go and employ people who are not trained, people who may even turn against them. So it is, I mean, that's the chaos we are headed into.
You're the legal expert in the room. On one side, there's people who say we want him to serve one term and then we go to an election. On the other side, you know, the president is himself saying these are illegal attempts to get him out of office. And of course, his supporters say he will serve 2 terms like his predecessors have done. I want to get your legal opinion, because you are an expert, surely all the way up until Chief Justice. Are the calls for him to run for 1 term illegal? What are the options for the president now? You yourself have said he's lost legitimacy to rule. And you've asked for his resignation. So give us that option in law. Couch that in legal for us.
The resignation? What?
Or the options that are available to him.
Yeah.
Between now and 2027?
Yes.
2027 and beyond?
Yes, yes. What these people are saying, 1 term, is that they're tired. They're tired of Ruto's governance system, and they are asking him to resign. Short of that, what the option that is there is for Parliament to do its work. Parliament has powers to impeach the president under the Constitution. The president has violated uncountable provisions of the Constitution. If Parliament were doing its work, the president would not be in office today. So what these people are saying when they are talking about 1 term is President Ruto resign. If you are not resigning, Parliament, are you listening? Impeach this president and get him out. Of course, the other option left there for the people is for the people there on their own initiative. But that's a long process, which will require a lot of funding. I mean a lot of funds, and a process through the IBC. Is a long option. The shortest route to this is for the president to resign, or if he fails to resign, Parliament is supposed to impeach him. But my guess is as good as yours.
Yeah, well,
Parliament will not do that because it is captured. Parliament is captured. Instead, what they are doing, instead of even asking him to resign, they are now supporting him and telling him go on. Some of them are telling him, look, don't order the shooting of the young boys on the legs. Shoot to kill. We are listening to that. Others are saying, look, if you don't want to give him his full terms, we will still vote for him and fill the ballot boxes. That is the conversation. I mean, what we are hearing from politicians, I don't know whether you can hear of that from a civilized nation.
He said he's standing his ground, and we will wait to see what happens. But
yeah.
So what's your take about where we go from here? How do we get ourselves out of this crisis? You know, what's the way forward? There's calls on the one hand for a cessation of the protests. There's calls for dialogue. There's calls for what we hear is termed an intergenerational national conclave. If such a thing should happen, would you be part of those talks?
Yvonne, the course from here, Parliament is, of course, as I've said, is not going to impeach the president. The course from here is for wananchi to prepare and vote out the president. Vote out a government that will reset the country into constitutionalism, that will restore the dignity of the Kenyans, that will rebuild the economy. Talking about dialogue, we have had dialogues in the past. We have had dialogues in the past. They have hardly gone into the root cause of the problems. We had the Kofi Annan dialogue. It came up with several recommendations. Very few of them were ever met. or were ever complied with. So to say that you are going to discuss the affairs of the youth by the government now setting the agenda, that's a joke. This is supposed to be people-driven. If there is going to be any dialogue, it should be people-driven.
So should we have dialogue or no?
There are concerns. People are expressing concerns and expressing and saying, look, we should have dialogue. But the government has come up with a conclave, and I don't think it is going to resolve any problems. It is going to get positions for people, and will not address the root cause of the problems. So what can only help is a people-driven dialogue that will involve the youths who have suffered most, and come up with.
What do we talk about? What do we talk about?
What do we talk about? Why are we here? Why are we here? And maybe a voice from that group.
And who would drive that? Because you say it's a people-driven process. That sounds rather amorphous. Who would drive it? There
are groups who are already thinking about that. I am myself.
Are you part of those groups?
I have myself requested and talked with some people we come together and think about what we should do. Not in my capacity in my capacity as a leader and as a former Chief Justice of this country, and not as a candidate. So we put our heads together and see what we should do for the good of this country.
Okay.
Yes.
So talk again. That's what you're suggesting. To what end?
That is talk is going to be talk that is going to like a stopgap, so that the country doesn't descend to anarchy as we are now. Of course, if there are resolutions that will come from those talks, and I believe there will be, which will be asking the president to resign, as I've told you, or demand that Parliament does its work.
And if that doesn't happen?
If that doesn't happen, as I said, prepare for the election that can vote out the president.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking about
it must be done constitutionally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Because you have said we talk, but with nothing that comes out of it. I'm
not saying there's nothing which is going to come out of it.
Okay, but yes. So how would you propose, if you had a set of recommendations, to ensure that they are implemented, if you think that the person who's in charge of this country right now is not listening? So how would you ensure that any recommendations from a process that...
I can't give you an answer. I can't give you an answer of now.
Yeah.
Because, it's not that I have answers to that. The people of Kenya, and quite a number of them, will think and come up with a proposal, which I'm sure will be important and will give direction.
Okay. I want us to focus on what your plan is in terms of fixing some of the ills that you've talked about in this country. CJ, what's your economic philosophy, and just give us your assessment of the state of Kenya's economy. Where are we? What are some of the aspects of the economy that concern you, and what do you intend to do about them?
Thank you, Yvonne. The economy is the backbone of all operations and services that are rendered. Why am I saying that? You need money to render services. Money cannot come from anywhere else other than from taxation. Taxation, you can't tax people who are not earning. So we need to reform the economy. We need to encourage and support private enterprise, especially those started by young people, so that we can have economic activities, vibrant economic activities across the country. Now, what is, and that is one of, as I told you, one of our campaign pillars, rebuilding the economy.
And how do we do that?
How do we do that is, I have a team which is working on that. We've got, agriculture is the backbone of our economic activities in this country. We know what has happened in the recent past. Instead of supporting farmers with fertilizer so that they can produce, what were they given? Sand. A sand. I mean, a total betrayal. In fact, I don't even know how to describe it. So what we need, the activities that we need to be involved in, is there's a time when we had a lot of industrialization in this country. You remember the times of the East African building, East African what? What was the name?
East African Building Society?
No. East African Industries.
Yes.
We had a lot of manufacturing activities going on, and Kenya is the powerhouse in the Eastern African region.
But why do you think we've deteriorated?
Why we have deteriorated?
And what's your understanding, say, of because a lot of what you say is important, revamping agriculture and a number of other sectors. But how do we do that with the current debt that we have? So I just perhaps want to get your understanding of where the economy is, our debt situation, our domestic borrowing, because you will have to think of all of those factors, even as you purport to, revamp agriculture. With what money when we've got a serious debt crisis?
Yes. Because of the looting of the covers, the government covers, the government sometimes has reached. That looting is not put back to government. It goes to people's pockets. It goes to overseas. What that does is that it forces the government to borrow even more. The domestic debt itself, what they have taken from the local banks, has made borrowing by individuals from the local banks almost impossible. The interest rates that are being charged, any ordinary business person will not be able to borrow. What has happened in the past? I remember very well when Kibaki came to power. What he did was to stop local borrowing completely, almost minimized it completely. As a result of that, the banks went to the villages to get the people to borrow. The interest rates came down, so there was liquidity in the economy.
But the time of Kibaki, what I'm trying to understand is if we understand where we are with the economy right now and our debt repayment, for instance, with the heavy obligations, what are your thoughts around those heavy obligations we have around our debt and your economic philosophy to get us out of that? It's one thing to say we will not borrow domestically, but do you know how much money we need, for instance, to get ourselves out of the debt we have now, who we owe and how we stop digging the hole? Yes,
we haven't reached that stage yet. As I told you, I have a team that is working on that. The first thing we will need to do is to audit the public debt.
But CJ, you will be in charge of that team. You've referenced your team quite a bit.
Yes.
So, for instance, we have to repay about 68 billion shillings in debt this month alone, about 1.1 trillion. The team is all well and good, but they will take cue from you. So with the state of our debt right now, 11.3 trillion shillings.
Yes.
How do we do that? Do we go to multilateral lenders? Do we do concessional lending? We've already perhaps leveraged in the commercial space. What do we do to reconfigure that balance?
Yvonne, I told you, we have just started. We have just started. We are preparing our manifesto. We are looking into all that, so that my economic team will come up with the way forward, with the roadmap that can get us out of here. As I told you, the first thing to do is to audit the public debt and see how we can minimize. We will start with wastage. We will start with stopping wastage. I have said before, the first thing we are going to have to do is to deal with corruption head on, and the corruption we are talking about here is budgeted corruption. I referred to the funding that is being sent to non-existent schools.
Yeah.
We will put a stop to that, and I believe once we have put a stop to that, and have stopped wastage as much as we can, we are going to have money in the economy.
Which are the areas that you see are some of the biggest loopholes for this budgeted corruption?
You know, the budgeted corruption is literally in all government bodies. So it is a question of, as I've told you, that is being audited. Is this money going, I mean, which has been given, going to the purposes they are intended? And you ask questions why. So once we come into power and say, look, come and tell us, explain your budget estimates, what we are going to use it for, how are you going to, and make sure that what is released goes to the purposes for which it was intended. For example, in the Ministry of Education, you have funding going to which is being controlled at the county level and is not reaching the schools. The capitation that is being given to the schools, is not enough for them to run their and yet it has been budgeted. Come to, for example, devolved funding. If you talk about health, for example, 1/3 of the health budget is retained by the central government, and what is given to the counties, and yet that is a devolved function. What the central government is doing is policy and high-level training and a few functions which cannot take 1/3 of the budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody who's come in or tried to vie for this country has said pretty much the same words you're saying. It's budgeted corruption, zero tolerance. We've heard all the slogans around it. How would you do this differently? There's been, big mega corruption scandals that remain unresolved to date. Forgive us, CJ, if we've heard this before. How is your promise different? What is that one thing that you are able to do that nobody else has been able to do with respect to the war on corruption? We had big fish and small fish, you remember?
Yes.
We will fry the big fish and the small fish. We will leave no stone unturned. Mine will be a zero tolerance to corruption administration. Pretty much like what you're saying here.
Yeah.
What would be different about you?
What will be different? I want Kenyans to trust me. Of course, that's what...
Trust is very expensive in the country.
Yeah, just a minute. I will ensure that I get the Kenyans to trust me. What will we do? I will strengthen bodies like EACC and get them to prosecute those who have stolen from government coffers.
So prosecutorial powers?
Yes.
Would that change? In what way? In what way, them lacking prosecutorial powers, does that limit their abilities to fight corruption? Because we already have the DPP.
We have the DPP.
Yeah.
They are hamstrung. Quite a number of their operations are hamstrung. They are arm-twisted. You have seen, quite a number of public officers arrested, and you don't hear about the prosecution of their cases.
Well, the EACC could be influenced as well.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If I give a clear authority to those people, tell them, look, anybody interfering with you, come back to me.
And you'll do what?
And I will, of course, I will take action against those who are interfering with those officers. I want to assure the institutions that are in place that they will have my back. As an individual, as the president, they will have my back, and I will make sure that they are not interfered with. They are given the independence they are supposed. They are entitled to. They are given funding as much as we can, so that they prosecute those cases. And I can assure you, Yvonne, you get a few senior officials, you get a few governors charged with those offences, you will put a stop to further what?
So
stealing.
Actually, now that you mentioned that, let's turn this a little bit, because as president, the only thing you would be able to do is subject them to the course of the rule of law, right? Which is to be charged. And then it would be up to the courts to decide.
Correct.
Now, at this point in time, we hear of complaints from the executive that these cases are brought to court, but it is the court that fails the people. Now, you've sat on that side of the court. Is that a frustration that you, you've heard and you relate with, in terms of the judiciary perhaps being also one of the weak links in the chain towards the course of justice?
You have said it. There was a time when I was CJ, there was a time, a conference, can I call it a conference, or a meeting was convened at Bomas of Kenya. And the mantra at that time was that the judiciary was the weak link. I stood there and I told them, it is not the judiciary. It is the way things were being done. At that time, I remember vividly telling them that you charge somebody with corruption. You have, I don't know, 40 counts. You have like 20 people charged jointly. Those 20 people will have more than 20 lawyers defending them. That case will go on forever. So it was all that was being done to just camouflage what was happening. What I will do is I will get funding given to the judiciary, sufficient funding given to the judiciary. You know, the judiciary is one institution which the Constitution, whose funding the Constitution has protected. Article 173 provides that as soon as the budget estimates are finalized, the government is supposed to deposit the entire judiciary fund, budget in the judiciary fund. That is not being done. And look at the amount.
Now that you're here, tell us, the president did promise, I think as one of his very first acts in office, promised an independent funding of the judiciary. Did that happen?
No. You should have known even yourself. It didn't happen. The judiciary's budget is so low that it is hamstrung. It is literally hamstrung. The judiciary is an arm of government, and what it gets is much less than what some departments get. Of course, I'm not saying that the judiciary should get, for example, get more than what goes to education because of the outlay in education. But it is not being given sufficient funding to be able to even employ enough personnel to deal with those cases. When we come to power, Yvonne, what we'll do is to ensure that the judiciary is well funded, and liaise with the judiciary itself to fast track, especially those economic crimes. And the recoveries that are going to be there. You have seen EACC recover some money from people. We want to have those cases fast-tracked, and many of them prosecuted so that we can recover.
Beyond funding, is there something more that can be done to ensure the independence of the judiciary? Do you think there is sufficient independence, so beyond funding, which is obviously an important aspect?
You know, Yvonne, even the recruitment of judicial officers and the judicial staff is interfered with by the government. The government has some members, appoint some members to the Judicial Service Commission. There is interference in the recruitment, and leave alone that we have seen cases in the past where a judge gives an order, and the judge is being discussed in Parliament. That what is this judge doing? One time I went. I went to Parliament for the State of the Nation address, and it was being raised. I think that time what was being raised was a case that Ouko, the former Auditor General, had filed because the parliamentarians wanted him sacked. So Ouko went to court. And there was talk about the judiciary interfering with the parliament's work. I told them off. I told them off that the court was entitled, Ouko was entitled to be given due process. So those are the kind of interferences that sometimes even create fear, especially to the junior officers in the judiciary. So the judiciary should be given complete independence that it has. Not only the judiciary, there are these independent commissions and state offices that are supposed to be given their independence to be able to serve.
Yeah, can we speak about just briefly what's happening on the regional and perhaps foreign affairs front? But before we get there, let's talk about the trial of Tundu Lissu in Tanzania. You were there.
Yes.
Two things, but first I'll start with this one. How did you manage to attend the case without being deported? Your predecessor, retired Chief Justice, amongst others, including Martha Karua, were deported. Why weren't you?
Ask me that again. I went there, and I was not stopped. In fact, I went and I gave my passport. I was cleared. I was with the one officer. We were cleared and we went in. A lot was said from that. Some of my detractors said, look, this is a government project. Calls must have been made from high places for him to be cleared without any problem. Why did I go there? We are seeing the civic space shrinking in the region. What affects Tanzania will affect Kenya and vice versa. So I went there in solidarity with Tundu Lissu. The churches against him, and the background information that we had is that Tundu Lissu wanted to contest, and was not being allowed because these Trump churches were coming up. So what we are saying is the civic space, the civic space is being shrunk in the region, and if we want to control that in Kenya, as it is happening in Kenya, if we want to control that in Kenya, we should be there in solidarity with the others.
The accusation from the Tanzanian government was that Kenyans were interfering in the affairs of other countries. Do you believe that we are? At least with respect to Tanzania first, yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think we are Tanzanians are our brothers and sisters. We have had Tanzanians here, activists here, and the Kenyan government wanted to throw that lady out of this country, and a lot of noise was made, and she was left alone. So there is no interference. These governments are trying to control the affairs by creating fear, making allegations which are unfounded, so that nobody comes up. But where we have reached Yvonne, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. Allow me to say this, Yvonne. What we are seeing in Kenya and in East Africa and most African countries is what I call an extractive system of government. Extractive system of government is one which puts aside the provisions of the Constitution. We are a democracy by Constitution, but in practice we are not. Those who come to power come, as I said earlier, and with the major purpose of looting from the public. So what do? They put aside the Constitution. Instead of implementing it, they start looting, and with impunity, they want to do whatever they want to do. That is there in other countries. If you read this book, Why Nations Fail, the authors state that when it goes on unchecked, it will get to a point when the citizens cannot take it anymore. They call that a critical juncture. And if nothing is done at that stage, the country will collapse, and we will all be sufferers. In my view, we have reached that stage in Kenya. Unless Kenyans come together and vote out this government, if we go on with Ruto with a second term, we are going to disintegrate.
Okay.
We are going to disintegrate, and we need to come together and elect a government that will restore the institutions, that will restore the economy, that will change the governance system so that the law is followed, the constitution is followed, and we enjoy our freedom and our economic activities.
Okay, I want us to stay on the foreign affairs front for a moment.
Yes.
Because you say, well, at least with respect to what's happening in Tanzania, it wasn't interference. But what's your view with respect to how we've handled the issue in Sudan and the RSF?
That is one of the surprising things that we noticed. RSF is a group which is fighting the Sudanese government. We invited them here, and we allow them to declare independence in Kenya. What is the message from there? What is the message from there? We are fighting neighboring countries. Whatever their problems are, we are now bringing them here, and we are creating a problem between Kenya and Sudan.
So do you think it's interfering in the affairs of Sudan? Exactly.
That is serious interference. In fact, the world was shocked. From the media reports that we saw, the world was shocked. There is one senator, I believe, from the United States, who said, what the hell is happening with Kenya? Go back to the background. What we are reading out of that is somebody's personal interests overrides the interest of the nation.
Whose personal interest?
The system.
No, you said
the system. The system's personal interests.
Who is the system? A system doesn't have personal interests. It is an entity.
Yes.
So who do you think has personal interests in
you know, what I talked about, the extraction and even getting resources from other countries. I mean, it was there. It's there in the media, Yvonne.
No, I'm asking you now.
It is there in the media.
Okay.
And there is credible information that this is what drove that. Look at what our handling of the problem in DRC Congo has led to. Kenya, I mean, was in the past the place where you would negotiate peace with warring parties in the neighboring countries, and we did very well on that. But not with this system, not with this government. I mean, our armed forces were asked to come back. Something we are supposed to have handled had to go to, Arabian countries to be resolved there. We have lost that, key position we held in the region as peacemakers, and yet we are supposed to have that.
So you believe?
So
what are you saying, that
foreign policy,
that private interests are
overriding the national interests. You cannot do that at the expense of the national interests.
And you say that those personal interests are present in Sudan and DRC?
Yes, they are there. So as a result of that, now we are actually making enemies with these countries. When we should be playing the leading role of keeping peace.
I'll come back to the foreign policy in a moment, but I just want to exhaust this a little bit. Should our police be in Haiti?
That's another interesting issue. The Americans have not themselves sent their police to Haiti. And what we were reading even in the media, there are challenges about paying the allowances for the police to be there. So I don't know whether I didn't hear that issue being discussed in Parliament.
Should we be in Haiti?
I don't think we should be in Haiti. To go to Haiti, the president cannot on his own decide and send police to Haiti. That is something. That's a national issue that should have been discussed in Parliament. That even should have involved some public participation. Our young people are dying in Haiti as a result of a hasty decision made without proper.
But the courts cleared it and allowed them to be there.
The courts have cleared it. Have they said that the initial decision was correct? I don't think that's what they have said. They are already there. So they continue.
And one last one on foreign policy. Some of the Trump measures around the world that are also going to affect the country in one way or another. Your thoughts around perhaps the taxes that have been issued on foreign remittances. As you know, diaspora remittances are a huge part of the country's foreign direct investment. How would you deal with matters of the Trump tariffs? What do you think, in your assessment, has been the effect on the Kenyan economy and on certain aspects of it, and with respect to the taxes on foreign remittances around the world?
Well, Trump has come with a very interesting tax regime that is affecting quite a number of countries. First of all, we used to get a lot of aid from USAID coming in. With the abrupt scrapping of that, people have lost jobs. Quite a number of activities have been affected. The taxation regime that has been put in place, which is affecting Kenya badly with the remittances. If we had good relations with America, that's something the government would discuss and get, because there are quite a number of other countries which are not being as taxed as heavily as
but
Kenya.
With this one, it is what he calls his big beautiful bill, that it's not necessarily about Kenya, but this is
but the rates are different.
Economic policy that is being put out, and they're saying that they're going to have taxes that are withheld, excise tax. So this is not necessarily about the relationship between Kenya and the US. This is a US global tax policy.
That's a global tax policy, Yvonne. It is not uniform. The rates are different for different countries. It all depends on how they value your relationship with them. So that's what I'm saying. If you are going by the example of the East African region, how we have behaved in that, it
so
tells
how do you propose? Okay, because there's the issue on remittances, on foreign diaspora remittances, but I suppose you're talking about the Trump tariffs, the trade tariffs, right? So how would you negotiate your way out of that one? What sort of leverage would you have?
What we have had, Yvonne, and I think that this is what is affecting us here. We are flip-flopping on the foreign policy. On paper, Kenya is supposed to be non-aligned. Today we are in the east, tomorrow we are in the west, and these countries are saying, look, can we trust you with your relationship with us? So that kind of shift from the non-alignment to.
So where do you think we're aligned to at the moment?
I actually don't know where we aligned it. On paper, the policy which has been approved is non-alignment. When this government came to power, You saw what happened with the Western Sahara.
Okay, but let's focus on Trump, because that's a big issue.
Yes.
How would you deal with the issue of his policies, and what would be your alternative measures locally, because it would be something you would have to deal with?
Yes, I've not reached that stage where we are getting solutions. As I told you, this is work in progress.
So you're at the problematizing stage.
Yes, we are looking at all these problems, so that, I mean, I have, as I told you, I have experts in these various.
Do you not think that you would want to have a solution towards?
Of course.
Because stating the problem is important, and I suppose understanding it. But the problems that you state are problems that Kenyans know and live every day. And when you're in a competitive political field, there would be some who would say, okay, so tell us what your thoughts are on the foreign policy, on the economy, and what those solutions would be. How long are you going to stay in the problematizing stage before you move towards giving people solutions as a credible alternative to what we already have in the market?
Yes. Thanks, Yvonne. I started this hardly how many months ago? Hardly four months ago. In fact, you should commend me. I'm doing very well. So what we are doing is I have put together experts in this.
Who are these experts, CJ? So that maybe we can try to understand, because you've perhaps, to use the phrase, adversely mentioned these experts. Maybe as a show of confidence to Kenyans, you'd want to tell us, these are some of the people that I have gathered around me who I feel have the confidence and the competence to help me lead. Is that something you're willing to disclose at this stage?
Not at this stage.
Why not?
Not at this stage, because these are people who have offered their services free of charge to me. They have said, CJ, we are ready to assist you to develop a clear roadmap of what you are going to do. In due course, they will come. There are quite a number of officers, even when you are in government, there are quite a number of officers who are not front-facing, but are doing very good work. I mean, I can't aspire to come to a position like this one without getting or thinking about what I want for the Kenyans.
Okay.
Like on foreign policy. I mean, what I know is that from my international law knowledge, is that a country, the first priority is the interest of your country before you consider the interests of others. Not personal interests, but the national interests. So there are those people, and it just give me some time.
Okay. Your final thoughts as we close our conversation here tonight?
My final thought, Yvonne, is this. Ruto's government has failed the Kenyans. I have offered myself to lead a team that is going to come with a fundamental transformation of the governance system in this country. As I've said, we will stop the extractive system and get the country back to where it is supposed to be. I have said we are going to get the Constitution respected and complied with. That will deal with the issue of impunity. That will give dignity to the people of Kenya. I have said that we are going to restore the independence of our institutions. We are going to restore healthcare. We are going to restore our educational institutions and get us back to where we are supposed to. We are working on ways and means of rebuilding the economy. If we don't do that, if we don't start with stopping the extraction, stopping the looting of public resources, we are going to lose this country. I want to appeal to the Kenyans that let us come up and get registered as voters and vote this government out. Quite a number of people, when I was starting this, quite a number, friends of mine asked me, CJ, why do you, you have retired honorably, why are you going into these murky areas? Why don't you keep your reputation? I thought about that and I asked them. I said, okay, I stay away because I want to protect my reputation. What good will that reputation be to me, leave alone my family, when this country goes up in smoke? There are quite a number of other Kenyans who feel that they should not be involved in the governance of the country. Somebody who is an auditor, is doing his work, is able to pay his bills, is able to take his children to school, says, look, I don't want to be concerned. I don't want to soil my hands. Leave that to the politicians. My appeal is that let us stop that lethargy. Let us be involved in the governance of this country, because, and that has come out very clearly, governance affects everyone. The workers are taxed heavily, but they can't see, where their taxations are going. Let us get together and stop this, so that we can get our institutions working, so that we can rebuild the economy. It's not going to be, a one-day affair. It is going to take time, but with determination. And I want to assure Kenyans that I will not let them down. With determination, we will get our country back. The good people, there is one book I read, said, look, if you want the simplest way to let evil blossom is for the good people to keep quiet. I want to appeal to all Kenyans that let us not keep quiet about what is happening in the country. It is our own children who are being affected. They may not be your child, but they will be your neighbor's child. Let us be concerned and stop this kind of atrocities that is meted to our people. Okay. And we can do that when we come together and say no to this system by voting it out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time here. Retired Chief Justice David Maraga, on his quest to run for president in 2027. We thank you for your time. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.